And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that break. We just wrapped up with our first matchup of the night with DKZ versus Team Basilisk. It was a very high-profile match, but now we have our second best of 7. Our second match, it is PSISTORM Gaming versus the KWANGDONG Freecs. Unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to Asher here as he has gone to bed. For those wondering, it is very late here in the land of Australia. It is almost 1 a.m. in the morning, and of course, Asher does have to wake up early for work tomorrow, so he is going to bid us adieu. But thank you. Big shout out to Asher. I don't get to cast with Asher as often as I used to, just because, of course, of IRL commitments. So I cherish Asher whenever I get to cast with him. We don't, again, like once a week or so, we're able to cast together. So at least we're able to at least cover one best of 7. And I'm sure Asher will be joining us again in another week or so. For now, though, we have our next series. The show must go on. And up first, we're going to be getting into Spirit versus Sue, followed by Gerald versus Keen, and MaxPax versus Stats. Predictions will soon be open in the chat, so keep your eyes peeled for said predictions, as this is going to be an interesting one. The KWANGDONG Freecs, they've been struggling. The KWANGDONG Freecs, they have been struggling here, even though they're a team of champions. They're a team of veterans, is maybe a better way to put it, as a lot of these players aren't active anymore. A lot of these players, they aren't in their prime. They don't commit as much of their free time to improving at the game and competing and striving for kind of stronger and higher feats. And that has kind of been shown here in the WTL season. It's really cool to see that they made it through the qualifiers. We were there to see them make it through the qualifiers, but they are still kind of struggling to really find their footing, despite the legacy behind Sue and Keen and Stats. They really need to turn it on. They really are still looking to get back into form, and we're getting there. We are getting there. I've said this at the start of the season, but week after week after week, they are improving because they're playing more often, but they're still on the road to recovery, and PSISTORM Gaming are going to be coming in as the favored team and the favored players. Oh boy. So this is going to be the next challenge here for the KWANGDONG Freecs. Can they step it up? Can they go toe-to-toe with PSISTORM, as PSISTORM have since bolstered their roster? In the last season of WTL, they did struggle. They had MaxPax, and they didn't really have a lot of support for him. MaxPax, he was struggling to really carry on his own. But here in the winter season, we have Spirit, we have Gerald as well. And Gerald has also been looking very impressive. He almost reminds me of Trigger on Team Basilisk, where obviously MaxPax and Spirit, they are some of the best Terran and Protoss in Europe. You don't really get much better than them. Like for Spirit, sure, there's like Clem and Hero Marine arguably, but like they are still the best of their respective races. Gerald, he is a little bit left behind. He's in the shadow of his teammates, but in WTL, he has been performing well, and he has been putting points on the board. So it's been really cool to see him also step it up here and to help support both Spirit and MaxPax. Oh boy, and I'm excited. I'm always excited to cover more Sue, cover more Keen, cover more Stats. Of course, we are old school fans of the game, and who can't remember Sue with his constant second places before eventually getting that final win in IEM Katowice, eventually getting that trophy. Likewise, Stats, the Shield of Fire, also one of the best Protoss in his own right, in his own era, and Keen. The Keen Cap, Commander Keen himself. Really, my best memory of Keen is like playing against him in a Lima League. He was always a great player and always a TVT sniper as well over in the Pro League days, so always a lot of respect for Keen. I believe he is the captain of the team. I do believe that he is the one kind of organizing the players and bringing everyone to the table and organizing all of these matches as well. So yeah, excited to always see more of him as we are getting into this best of series, into these best of 2s. Oh, here we go. Ash is going to play Stardew Valley for another 5 hours and wake up at noon to cry for Auntie's chicken. This is true. Look, I have it on good authority that Asher is sleeping early today, but he could also be playing Stardew Valley for a couple of hours. That's very possible. Tis very possible. But alas, for now, we're getting ready for our first matchup. It is going to be Spirit versus Sue, a TVZ. What I will say about the KWANGDONG Freecs players is that Sue does seem to be a little bit more in form. Over the past couple of months, Su has been a little bit more active. He's been playing in KSL or ESL Open Cup Asia every now and then, every couple of weeks, and he hasn't been looking too bad. You know, he even qualified for GSL. You know, Su, I do think that he's in better form than Keen or even TY, I would say. It's hard to distinguish between Su and TY, but again, they are some of the stronger players on the KWANGDONG Freecs. I know that a lot of people have expectations of stats. A lot of people have a lot of high expectations for stats, but he's still finding his footing as well. We've seen a couple of moments where we've seen some moments of brilliance from him. We were lucky enough to cast stats in the qualifiers for GSL leading into this season, and he didn't look too bad. He didn't look too bad at all in the qualifiers. But up against stats, that's oh god, it's not going to be easy, Papi. MaxPax being the best Protoss in Europe, arguably the best Protoss in the world as well, or one of the best Protoss. So yeah, not going to be easy. For now, it looks like we are just looking for our players. Usually when we're stuck on this scene and when we're stuck on this screen, it means that we're just hunting down players and getting lobbies set up and making sure that, you know, servers are working. So we may just go on a short break here until we can actually get our lobby going. So hopefully not for too long. I do apologize for the delayed start. We are back. It looks like we have found our players. We're diving right into the game and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Hardlead. We have Spirit for PSISTORM Gaming. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Su. With his IEM trophy in the background. Let's go. Oh my god, you do love to see it. And yeah, I did mention it before, but especially if you're maybe a newer fan of StarCraft, you may not be familiar with Su, but Su in his heyday was the best Zerg player in the world. But despite being the best Zerg player in the world, he would just constantly get second places time and time again. So many GSL second places for Su, always the bridesmaid and never the bride, until one fateful year where he was able to take it all and become the IEM champion, and that is the trophy of IEM in the background. We love to see it. Big shout out to the sponsors, of course, to Taidu, Doyu, and Oreful. Without our lovely sponsors, WTL would not be a thing. So big shout out to them. Not just WTL, not just World Team League, but also Kung Fu Cup and Masters Coliseum as well. Much love. As yeah, we're getting into this, and I always appreciate it whenever the players have their trophies in the background and they're kind of showing them off. It also reminds me of Hydra. Hydra over on Twitter a couple of days ago actually posted a photo how he was like going over like some of his old things, and he actually came across all of his trophies, and it was just a blast from the past seeing trophies from Pro League and from Brood War and also from WCS America and StarCraft 2. I think in IEM as well. So really cool to see. Just yeah, always a little bit nostalgic, and it brings back some memories, some fun memories, of course, of these like big tournament runs. Something you have to remember: Su is a world champion. He is a world champion. As we are going to be getting into this again, we do see Spirit just going for. I think that was maybe even a CC first. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Back at home, just standard openers. Su likewise going for a hatch gas pull into a third base. Nothing too crazy here from Su either. Again, when it comes to Spirit, I know I've been reminiscing a lot about Su recently, but Spirit, he has been on the rise throughout this entire year. He's been looking dominant over in the European region, not just there, but also in general. Spirit has been really leveling up, and it's been amazing to see Spirit grow as a player over the past 12 months. At a time, you know, he was always at the top of Europe, but I feel like a lot of people didn't really have their eyes on him. But again, this entire year, he's been really leveling up and really that's been really showing as well in his performances in his tournament runs, as he's been able to even exceed and surpass Hero Marine in how far and how deep he's been going in these big premier events. Whether it's Gamers 8 or ESL Masters Summer, has been amazing to see. Behind this though, Economic Opener is going for a third CC, and this is what Spirit is known for. Like, he can be aggressive, he can be very in your face if he wanted to, but really his comfort zone is going to be just macro, economic, into the mid game, into the late game. That's where Spirit really does thrive. That's where his strengths lie. So again, it is going to be 3CC into that starport. I imagine we're going to be seeing an add-on swap behind this to go into that Banshee, and there we go. It is going to be a Banshee opener, so very economic and very standard play here from Spirit. Nothing too crazy. Cloak is being resourced as well. Of course, this will keep you safe against something like a Roach opener or Roach aggression, and you can also harass across the map as well, getting into mineral lines and sniping some workers. Meanwhile, back at home, Su just getting into Link speed. We haven't really seen any tech of choice. He's just going to be droning, making queens. Again, everything has been pretty by the book so far in the early game of this ZVT. Nothing too fancy. As the Hellions, they dip in. They're going to be zoned away by the queens. Creep is being spread. And Su is going straight for that lair. 4-minute 30 lair timing, very standard stuff. By the time we get halfway through this lair, we should be throwing down a Baleen Nest as well. So again, just very safe play out of Su. Very frequently, we have been seeing a lot of Zerg players, if they do scout an economic opener, they actually go for a double Evo chamber first, and they rush into upgrades. But we can see that Su is not taking that chance. He's going to be relying on Ling Bane early on, and delaying his upgrade slightly here in favor of Baneling speed. But his own Evo chambers shouldn't be too far behind, as we're getting into our gases. Meanwhile, spores are on the way, hopefully in time to deal with the Banshees, as Cloak is now done and the Banshees are moving out. Likewise, the Hellions of Spirit still just vying for map control, dipping between the bases. And no major damage yet against Spirit. He hasn't taken a chance of going into a base. As we're pointing out, Su hasn't scattered at all this game. He's not entirely sure as to what's going on, but he saw the Hellions, so he knows about the 1-1-1 at least. That's why the spores are out. And oh my, okay, Su, I was wondering, I was concerned. I was like, we should have been seeing Evo chambers by now. Where are they? Well, all 6 gases. All 6 gases are being taken, and we are skipping upgrades, going straight into Mutas. A bold move, a very risky maneuver here from Su. Can he get away with it? As we do have the Banshees dipping in towards the main base. Can they get an eye on that Spire? They get an eye on the Spire at the natural. Oh, as they do go for the Queen, they do get it. Queen goes down, drones being focused down as well. These Banshees are already doing more than enough damage. 6-7 workers. The Queens are out of position. There's no creep connecting the bases either, so it takes even longer to rotate over. At the same time, Hellions do threaten that third base. We go for a scan into the natural, and that scan didn't spot the Spire. Didn't spot the Spire. I think it may not have. It's hard to tell. There we go. Okay, it did barely glance that Spire. Spirit now knows what's going on. Turrets should soon be on the way, and we are already focusing on bioproduction. The jig is up. Spirit knows. I'm assuming he clicked on it, and I'm assuming that he doesn't think it's a spore. Fingers crossed. As Mutas are on the way. Another Queen goes down in the main. Again, the Queens of Su just being pulled left and right, never where they need to be. As more Queens do fall. The Hellions, at least they weren't able to get into a mineral line. I mean, the drones were killed by the Banshees, but at least the Hellions didn't get even more damage done, as they are going to be backing off. Meanwhile, Su, he knows he got scanned, he knows he got scouted. He does make a wave of Mutas, but he's still focusing on Ling Bane behind it, as the Mutas are rushing across the map, and they come across the Banshees. Banshees do go down. Turrets are on the way. Spirit, though, he knows that there's a timing. There's a window here where his opponent, his ground army is lacking. He's relying so much on these Mutas to keep Spirit back at home. He's going for a backstab. He's going to try to catch reinforcements. A tank, a medevac, whatever he can. As Su is just focusing everything right now on just making as much Ling Bane as he can to survive. Here we go. 1-1 is done. 2-2 on the horizon here for Spirit. Tanks are getting in position. The Hellions from earlier morphed into Hellbats. And the Banelings are going to try to engage here off of Kree. Good splits from Spirit. Good positioning as well. Every single Baneling goes down, and the Marine Army of Spirit is snowballing out of control. Su losing everything except for the Mutas, but the Mutas cannot engage. This base is going to fall. Again, a beautiful engagement out of Spirit. A beautiful split as well, avoiding the Banelings. And with that, Su, he's going to be on the back foot. He backs off. He's going to try to catch reinforcements, but Spirit, he's not trickling in. He keeps everything back at home. And the hatchery will fall. Now, Spirit did lose a couple of tanks, don't get me wrong, but he's replacing those tanks. He's actually looking to replenish as he's sending his reinforcements. He's looking to keep on pushing. If he wanted to, he could try to rotate around towards the other fringe base on the left-hand side, but no, he's going to keep on pushing towards these other bases here of Su, towards the third. Mutas, they just cannot engage. Again, they're just too fragile. Again, Mutas are designed to catch reinforcements, to cripple the economy, to pick off drop play, but these pushes here from Spirit, they're just getting out of control. Behind this, he's not going for an AREX all-in or anything like that. He's working on 2-2. 4th CC is on the way. Spirit is looking for that next step. And again, this is just a really good punish for a player that skipped upgrades, for a player that rushed into Mutas. The Mutas, they didn't really come into play at all. They couldn't come into play, not in the defense. But can Su hold on? The Mutas, they take down the tank. They get another. Really good snipes here from Su. Takes down 2 tanks. That's the bulk of this army gone. But we have another force on the left-hand side coming into another base. Su, can he keep up? He will. He does hold on to his 4th. So we do drop into the main base, trying to focus on whatever Mutas we can. At the same time, over at the 3rd base, Spirit, he is gaining ground. Yeah, he breaks them through, gets on top of the queens. Su, he just did not have enough to defend both bases at once. He was pulled apart. Thankfully, he doesn't lose any more workers here. But you can see Spirit exceed Su here in supply. As we have another wave of reinforcements on the way. Spirit, he's not done. He wants this base. He wants this 3rd. Su able to snipe one more tank, but as we lose one, we replace it with another. Spirit not turning back around. Once again, a nice spread here from Spirit, focusing down all the Banelings, and now we can just stim on forward. 0 Banelings are remaining. And Su, he's going to be losing the space. He can't push in. The Mutas! No! Coming in a little bit prematurely. But the Marines, the man with gun, they stim on forward. They focus fire whatever they can. GG gets called, and Spirit will take game number 1. GG. Again, a bold move from Su to rush into that spire the way that he did, to rush into Mutas. A very crucial scout from Spirits. Again, he was able to scout and scan ahead of time, recognize the tech that Su was going for, and set up for a very strong punish with his push. Not just the push, but also I love the execution of it. The fact that Spirit wasn't rallying across the map, the fact that he was keeping his reinforcements back at home and sending them over in waves, enough to be able to protect themselves and to fight against Mutas if the Mutas did try to pick off reinforcements. So again, just really mature and methodical play out of Spirit, snowballing out of control. Really well done. Really good execution. And with that, Spirit does take game 1. Su, gonna be on the back foot. His map of choice will be Equilibrium. Equilibrium, and we spoke about this earlier in the previous series, but this has been a very common pick from Zerg players just because of how many bases there are, the rush distance by ground, and the goal base as well. So Su is going to have a lot more breathing room here on Equilibrium. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for Spirit to really be as assertive on a map like this. Here we go. So again, on top of that, not just the fact that Su was trying to go Mutas on hard lead, but hard lead actually has a really short rush distance by ground. Doesn't take too long at all for the army to move out across the map, which also did work in Spirit's favor. If Su wanted to go Mutas, this wouldn't be a bad map for it, but here we go. In the top left for PSISTORM Gaming, we have Spirit. And spawning in the top right, we have his opponent. We have for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Su. We go. And again, Equilibrium, not a bad map for Mutas, but I doubt we're going to be seeing it here in game 2. I feel like if we're going to be going for that strategy, you want to do it once in a series, especially in a best of 2. I don't think we want to rely on it 2 games in a row. That feels like a really risky maneuver to go for, especially against a player as solid as Spirit. But we'll see. We'll see what Su's plans are going to be. We'll see if he decides to even rush into that goal base as well. Not as a natural, but maybe as a 3rd. Or even a 4th. But now, Spirit going for his patented CC first. This is very Spirit-esque. Going to be delaying his first racks here in favor of a CC. I don't know any player that does this as frequently as Spirit. He does love it. He does rely on it quite often. And it can be difficult to punish. I say that. I mean, very frequently, I don't really expect Stu to be too aggressive early on. So I do think that this is a wise choice out of Spirit. I don't think Sue is one to take advantage of Spirit this early on in the game to go into like a roach rush or anything like that. So a nice economic opener out of Spirit into eventually his racks. Likewise, Sue going for a hatch gas pull. Again, he's not like Dark or Ragnarok, aka Shin. He's not one to be overly aggressive in the early game. And even on a map like Equilibrium, because of the rush distance, difficult to do so as well. Yeah, we are just going to be settling into this game. Again, the other game relatively passive. We don't really expect too much to occur here. I guess we can talk about the map a little bit. Again, there are gold bases, not just gold bases, but many bases to be taken. This is one of the more macro-oriented maps in the map pool. In the center of the map, there is a Zonaga, and it can be difficult to actually get away with like early game pushes as a result. If the Terran or if either player has control of said Zonaga, it does give them a lot of heads up, a lot of leeway ahead of time as to when a push were to occur. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to be seeing in the mid game more of kind of a vying for control of that area, of that location. Until then, we're getting into our openers. I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit goes for another 3rd CC before Starport, and yeah, that's what we're going for, Pappy. There's that 3rd CC thrown down. Once again, economic opener out of Spirit. Should be going for the Starport after this. Should be setting up for an add-on swap as well. No reason not to open up 3CC before 3CC before Starport into Banshees. No reason not to. I feel like my eyes are really on Sue here this game. Again, we saw the Muta Rush or the Spire play not really pay off in game 1, so I'm curious if he's going to be relying on, I don't know, maybe more Roaches, maybe Ling Bane Hydra, maybe just Ling Bane into Hive Tech. I'm curious how Sue approaches this in game 2. A bit of a Ling counterattack here, but the Hellions are back at home. Lings are dealt with. Sue was hoping that the Hellions were to move out, but very safe play out of Spirit. He did stay back at home. Does clean up those Lings. Behind this, interesting no add-on swap, by the way. So Stim is going to be prioritized, and instead of going for a Banshee, we're going for a Liberator instead. A little bit more old school. Do love to see it. So we're going to have a Liberator harassing alongside Hellions. Basically, Hellions going to be looking to push into one of these bases while the Liberator distracts the Queens and ideally pulls the Queens into the main, allowing for the Hellions to push into a mineral line. So a bit of a 1-2 punch here from Spirit. One SCV goes down. At least we are able to accomplish that. But we don't get a scout in the main base. We don't really recognize what's going on, whether there are or aren't Banshees. As we are going to be doubling down here with our Rax production. Thankfully, no mech. Spirit has played mech in the past, but thankfully not going to be going for it here. As Sue once again goes for that a little bit later lair timing, 4 minute 40, at around the same time though. Lair first into the Bailey nest. And we'll keep an eye on the gases, because this could be a Spire again. I don't want it to be, but it could be. Here we go. The attack is upon us. Liberator not going for the main, actually going to be slipping in towards the 3rd base. Hellions getting ready to push in towards the natural. And we'll see if Sue can keep up. So far, the Queens, they do stand strong. They're going to be able to keep up with the Hellions. One Queen does go down. And then we are now focusing down drones one after the other. 4 or 5 workers fall for one Liberator and a Queen. Pretty worth it. Very worthwhile here for Spirit. Ooh, as we did have looks to be a unit going down in the main. I think that was the Reaper from earlier. Did end up falling. And behind this, we do have 1-1 in production for Sue. So this time is going to be going for more Ling Bane heavy style. Do love to see it. We're not going for Aspire. We're not going for Mutas. Not yet, at least. Back at home, Spirit just getting his 3rd base up and running. Going to be getting a fully saturated safety turrets on the way just in case. I don't blame him. Don't blame him at all. But as we can see, and as we're focusing on, we do have that Ling Bane. We have forgotten Baneling speed. That is something that I noticed earlier, and it kind of caught my attention. No Baneling speed. Uh-oh. We have the money for it. We do have plenty of money for bailing speed, but that is not on the way. And how long is it going to take for Su to realize that he doesn't have it? Oh, no. Not like this, Papi. Not like this. Hydrogen is throwing down, so it's going to be Link Bane Hydra. There we go. Link speed. Sorry, bailing speed does start up. But this is a very late upgrade here from Su. And it will not come into play here in the first fight. The Baileys, they're waddling in. They're waddling, Papi. The base is exposed, and this hatchery should go down. Su trying to puff up his chest, trying to threaten his opponent. And he's going for it. He is going to be committing. Tank shot's going to be going off on the Bailings. Big tank shots even. But it looks like we do have enough to clean up the tanks. And Spirit will be pushed back. And Su, he holds onto his hatchery. One Bailing left, but he does hold just barely. That is what matters most. Yeah, he was able to take down 2 tanks. We did actually miss 1 tank volley. I did notice that. There was 1 tank volley that was missed that wasn't quite connected on those Bailings. And yeah, Su, he holds for now. But we have the second wave. We have reinforcements on the way. Spirit, he wants this hatchery, but Bailing speed is about to finish up. Just in time for 1-1 from the Terran, actually. Queen's waddling on forward. Interesting that Spirit, he actually stopped tank production. He's going to Widow Mines instead, which will fare well against the Link Bane. Not so much against the Hydras. As Su is able to saturate his 3rd base, get up to 68 workers, 3 base saturation, getting his 4th, even taking a 5th as well. And Su, he is holding. As we're pointing out, there we go, now we're fine. Observer, calm down. He's like, yo, if you're getting more upgrades, no, it's okay, it's okay. 2-2 on the way. Hatchery is going to get sniped just barely. And a hot pick up there from Spirit. He does back off. Oh my god. The Bailings, oh sorry, the Mines. Mines do pop off. Spirit coming in from the northern side is going to dive on this 5th base, but have an army waiting. Oh, the friendly fire. The Mind Drag working against Spirit there, and Su will hold. At times, Widow Mines are the Zerg's best friend. It is true. The Mind Drag was insane. Oh my god, the target firing. The Bailings! Focus down one after the other as Spirit does get pulled back. It's one of those things where, hey, look, the Bailings, they may be nerfed, but it's okay. We have Widow Mines to work for us instead. That's what we have to resort to. Smooch. We need the Mines, Papi. As Spirit is going to be taking his 4th behind this. Again, his macro, pretty insane. Able to keep up with the Zerg, with Su. He has been taking some losses, though, when it comes to his drop play, so his army is not quite as powerful as they once were. There we go. Reinforcements are coming in. Spirit trying to pull Su apart. For the most part, Su has been able to keep up, but we go for a drop into the main. And there is nothing in position. Lings are coming in to reinforce. Spore goes down. The Mind Shot! Ooh, good drag there from Su, avoiding disaster. As he now throws down Infestation Pit. It is a delayed pit, I'll be honest. Delayed pit, delayed hive from Su. It's going to be stuck on Lair Tech a little bit longer. Going to be stuck with 2-2 and Ling Bane Hydra. No Vipers. No Adrenal. Oh my god. And every now and then, the Mine has to work for the Terran. As they get a big shot off on the Ling Bane. Oh my god, the screams are terrifying. As Su does hold. Gonna be able to force back the army. Getting to a higher Ling Bane force. And has Spirit been too wasteful with these drops? He has been bleeding out a lot of units. Su's still mustering up his army, but there we go. Su has maxed out. He's at that 200 army supply. Infestation Pit is done. Hive still hasn't started. There we go. Hive now starting up here for Su. Gonna be working towards 3-3. Adrenal. Potentially Ultras or just Lurker Tech. As the Hive... Oh my god. The target firing. The stutter stepping. But as we're getting into Hive Tech, Spirit already has 3-3 in production. And has Ghost on the way as well. to deal with whatever hive tech comes out, whether it's ultras, lurkers, or even broodlords. He is ready for it. So here we go. Sui's pushing in. He does have 2 armies. He denies the goal base and he crashes in towards that third, but the defensive position is just too strong. So he doesn't get into any mineral line. And we have our tech of choice. It is going to be lurkers. Lurker Den is thrown down. Now, it's going to take quite some time to get into those upgrades, so Su is still stuck with a Lingbane Hydra army. He does catch some tanks. Yeah, 2 tanks are left exposed. Decent start for Su, but he loses a lot of Lingbane in the process. Bleeding out a lot of his army, actually. Spirit, he can now counterattack. Su, he doesn't have any lurkers ready for this. Likewise, Spirit getting supply blocked. He actually won't be able to remax, not yet. Still struggling to take that gold. And he backs off. Because he backs off, he's giving Su the opportunity to actually make lurkers, to get into that hive tech. Still waiting for it, though. There it is. Plus 3 carapace has begun. Su's still committed here to a much more mobile army. And again, there is potential for Su to just catch Spirit off guard, to take down bases, but he just hasn't touched the economy almost this entire game. He hasn't been able to slow down Spirit. There it is, Fusion Core on the way. This should be 4 Liberators. We even have a couple of extra starports. And Ghost Lib works wonders against lurkers. As Lings do come in for a bit of a backstab, denying some of these CCs. Going straight for the sensor turrets as well. Sensor tower even. And Su getting in position to collapse on this goal base. Oh my god, but the tank line! Oh, we don't care about the tank line. We're going to be rolling in anyway. No Vipers, bear that in mind, but we don't care. As the Banelings, they do collapse on that planetary. The boys are pulled. The SCVs are saved. Very good control there out of Spirit, as Su, he spent most of his army killing a planetary, and now he's vulnerable once again. This is the second time this has happened. Not an efficient trade. That was 100 Lings! Oh my god! 100 Lings in the blink of an eye. Get a very efficient trade from Spirit. Oh, shot. And there we go. Vipers now in production. That will help when it comes to these dives. Blinding Clouds on tanks, on planetaries, will make these a little bit more efficient for Su. He's got Lurker range, now working on Adaptive Talons. 3-3 about to kick in. But as we're getting into Vipers, we already have Ghosts coming out alongside Liberators as well from Spirit. Now the question becomes, Spirit has to be careful not to take up too quickly. Ghosts and Liberators, they're good against Lurkers, but I believe we don't actually have any Lurkers at the moment. A more flexible army like Lingbane Hydra can still trade better, especially if Spirit does tick up too quickly. Does have to take care here. As Su is still looking for the army. Such patient play out of Spirit as well. He's been stuck at home for the past, like, 5 minutes. Like, he has taken the role of the defender. He's like, man, I'll just stay here, and you're just gonna run it, like, crash into me, and I'm just gonna knock you down. And this has happened twice. Like, it's working. Here we go, Su finding another angle of attack. Not quite breaking in. Liberators moving out across now to harass. Again, they do have range. Oh, they are that much more difficult to deal with. Thankfully, there is a Spore in position, but a lot of lost mining time. As Su, he just wants to roll on in. He has 2 Vipers, I believe, with the army. And is that Spore within range? I think it is. Question mark? I think. Su rolling on in. We have those Vipers with the EMPs. Does catch 1 Viper. As the Banelings, they crash into the mineral line, take down 11 SCVs. But the army of Su once again crumbles. Oh, did I speak too soon? Oh my god. He does connect with the Ghosts. Does take down a decent chunk of them. 4 Ghosts go down. And finally, Su, he deals economic damage. And this time, there we go, he remaxes with some lurkers and even infestors. His army is becoming more well-defined. And yeah, that wasn't the best trade from Spirit. Unlike previously, he just wasn't able to spread too well there. He wasn't quite in position for that attack. There we go, he's moving his tanks over. Oh my god, do we have nukes? We do! Let's go! Nuke into the natural. Is Su gonna realize? As the Lings are flooding on in once again, the tanks are exposed and the tanks will go down. Su gaining ground, pushing back Spirits, even taking down the Ghosts. With the death of those Ghosts, can we deal with these Lurkers? As the Lurkers don't quite have support, they're all going to be going down. Su, oh my god, losing his entire army. Nuke goes off across the map, not killing too many workers, but again, a very efficient trade here from Spirit. Su thankfully has a bank. He's going to be able to rebuild, but he lost every single lurker. Again, expensive losses here from our Zerg. Another nuke was attempted. But yeah, it's I'm not too fond of what's happening at the moment. Basically, Su, upon recognizing that Spirit is just completely walled off and he's turtling, we're not taking into Broodlords. So no Broodlords. We had a couple of Infestors earlier, but they get caught out by the scan. 2 Infestors go down, but 1 does survive. Show us the Fungals. As we crash on in, massive Fungal here on the Ghost. Every single Ghost does get caught, but is it going to be enough? A last second split does hold. A nuke goes off, 16 drones go down in the picture-in-picture. And Su, once again, he loses his entire army. GG gets called, he loses the mineral line as well, and Spirit will take the series 2-0. GG. Again, Spirit just walling up and saying, come at me. And Su's like, I will. And it was ideal time and time again for Spirit. Su, who was just smashing his head against the wall, and the wall refused to budge. There was like one good fight, if you remember, where Su was able to kill some of the ghosts and take out a mineral line. I think it was like the third big engagement. But outside of that, again, Su, he just wasn't really taking on up any further. He wasn't creating a more efficient army. He was just sticking with Lingbane Hydra, and yeah, they were really rough losses every time he tried to roll in, every time he tried to engage. And likewise, the nukes didn't help either. That was the nukes were really the cherry on top. The one nuke at the end there. Didn't necessarily win the game for Spirits, but was a nice way to secure it instead. And yeah, GG. Solid performance out of Spirit. 2 very different styles. In game 1, Spirit was very aggressive. He was very in the face of Su, punishing the muta play. In game 2, he was aggressive to begin with, but he just settled back into a more defensive role, just walling off instead, and yeah, just allowing Su to push into him, fighting on Spirit's terms. With the planetaries, with the tanks, with the defensive. And welcome back. The predictions are open, and we have returned with our second best of 2, as we have Gerald for PSISTORM Gaming. And in the bottom left, we have Commander Keen for the KWANGDONG Freecs. Oh, let's go. It's been so long since I've seen Keen. It's been years, Papi. It's been years. Great to see him here once again, the commander of the KWANGDONG Freecs, and we'll see if he can put a point on the board again. The Freecs, they have been struggling this season of WTL. They have been having a rough time against some of these other top-tier teams, and we'll see if they can fight back, as Spirit already just gets a solid lead for PSISTORM Gaming. Gerald looking to extend said lead. And I'll be honest, I haven't been able to see as much of Keen recently. We've been able to cast a couple of games here and there. He was active in Sparkling Tuna Cup, last year, for example. But yeah, in recent times, not too familiar with the playstyle of Keen. We casted him in a TVT, I think it was against Bunny, if I'm not mistaken, during the qualifiers for WTL. But that was a TVT, and I'm not too sure if I can really gather too much from that, as we are here in a very different matchup. Gerald actually going to go the long way around here with this Probe Scout. It is going to be a Racked Expand out of Keen, going for a more economic opener, a single gas opener here from our Terran player. And that will be confirmed by Gerald, as he dips into the main base, and he does Confirm that there is no second gas. He's going to be going for a Zealot first. The idea here is that the Zealot is going to be waddling across the map, going to try and punish the opener of Keen, going to try and slow him down, going to try and delay the CC or even get some worker kills if possible. It isn't just going to be the Zealot, it's going to be an Adept behind it as well. I imagine an Adept, we could be going Stalker, but the Adept does get across the map a little bit faster and can dip into the mineral line as well. As Gerald is just being as annoying as possible. Oh my, I just realized something. Gerald, what happened? I'm not talking about the mustache this time. Gerald, he used to be in like a massive attic room, if you remember. Like a massive room with his bed in the background, and yeah, we would always praise him. He'd always have like a nicely made bed as well, and now he's somewhere else completely. Oh, I hope the room is okay. As the Zealot does arrive again, the goal here to try and disrupt the building of this CC. We go straight for the SCV, and we will delay this base. Probe does go down. Marines, though, they have arrived. And right now, Geralt is just buying time for his Adept, as it is shading across the map, and it looks like it will arrive just in time to shut down that worker. Oh, and we just barely do bring it down. A big delay here for Keen. A big disruption of the opener. The idea here, like Keen's opener was meant to be economic. We go straight for that CC on the low ground, but is going to be delayed. Isn't the end of the world, but a good start here for Geralt, as he does get 2 SCVs. Behind this, Keen is getting into a 1-1-1 setup. Oh my god, the Adept is back. Getting a 3rd SCV as well. Again, Marine's not quite in position. The Adept wants a Marine. Will not get it. As back at home, we have our tech of choice. Geralt is going for a Twilight Council. Going to be a Twilight Council opener. We have additional gateways on the way. I believe that's going to be a 3-gate opener out of Geralt's. I'm not entirely sure if he's up to 4. As the Stalkers are moving out across the map, avoiding the main army of Keen. Oh my god, the positioning. Geralt, Papi, calm down. Able to get some extra hits in. There it is, Blink in production from our Protoss. Adept threatening a shade as well. Yeah, so far it is going to be 3 gates Blink from Geralt. This is enough to gain map control. We should be expanding behind this. This isn't overly committed from our Protoss player, as he will be active momentarily with those Blink Stalkers, as the gateways are finishing up. Meanwhile, back at home, Keen, he actually went into a fast tank, and we have a medevac on the way. It looks like he himself wants to be active on the map. He wants to push out, but into 3-gate Blink Stalker, Geralt, he will be there to slow him down. He should be there to catch said army, as we have a 4th gateway on the way. So 4-gate Blink out of Geralt, very aggressive opener. And the move out has been spotted. The Adept did get eyes on the drop, and the Marines. And the goal here for Geralt is to shut down this push. The Observer spots it as well. The goal for Geralt is to shut down the push and go for a massive counterattack. Keen does scan ahead of time, thankfully. Does spot the army. We have some Viking harass coming in. Tank going to be able to siege up in time, and Geralt going to respect it. Does back off. And do we have much at home to defend? As Geralt is preoccupied with the main army. And the Vikings coming in. And Vikings, they do a surprising amount of damage here to probes, but we have a couple of Stalkers in position. They will shut it down. They will at least zone away that Viking. But the tanks, they have made it across the map. We have been able to leapfrog over. Oof. As, oh my god. Geralt's going to run past those tank shots. Going to be catching some reinforcements. And setting up for a surround. There is no way out of this for Keen. Oh, Geralt, though, does fly too close to the sun, bleeding out some Stalkers. Liberator dips into the main base. We'll get a Stalker. And 4 probes. Not too bad. As Keen, even though the main push hasn't done too much damage, the Viking and the Liberator has. Oh, as Geralt attempts to counterattack, but alas, doesn't find any value. And Keen is doing well, you know, he's able to deal economic damage, he's getting into his own third CC. Keen should eventually be cleaned up, but... Oh, I love this. He's ferrying his units to the other side. He's escaping! Over the wall, he's hopping the fence! And he's getting away! Again, he knows that he was on a bit of a time limit there for how long he could stay in that position, but he is going to barely get everything out. Does get it to safety. Gerald walks up, he's like, wait, what? So where'd the army go? What's happening? Again, behind this Keen, he's already got his third CC. He's working on +1, stim, combat shields. Ooh, but this also means that this army from Keen is not going to be at home to defend. And Gerald, he's going for a big counterattack. He has charge, has blink. And soon to have high ground vision as well. Can Keen hold on with half of his army? As everything else is still racing back home. The boys pulled for a moment. Again, Keen just aware of how desperate the situation is. Meanwhile, Gerald, he's taking his own third base, and Gerald isn't going to commit. He will back off. He's working on Storm, working on higher tech. But Keen isn't out of this yet. He hasn't really lost much of his army at all. He is building up his forces. The Prism will be spotted. Turrets in position. Viking on the way as well. But the army that was supposed to have escaped is going to get caught out by these stalkers. At least the tanks survive. That's what's important. The tanks, they do make it out alive. Oh my god. As likewise Keen, he wants to try to surround those stalkers, but they recall back home. Oh! The stalkers recall, the Prism not so much. And now we're getting to 3 base versus 3 base. Keen is establishing his third. Building up his bio army, working towards a Ghost Academy. Things were pretty tense for a while this game, but now things will be settling on down. As Gerald is taking his fourth. Working on his upgrades. Storm is done. That's going to be his splash damage of choice. No Colossi yet. Or no big robot production. Just going to be relying on Storm and a Gateway army instead. Which is also why Ghosts are going to be coming in clutch. Once we get there. But Gerald, he has amassed an army. And Keen, he may be caught out. Oof. As he distracts the army on the right-hand side, he does have a double jump here towards the left. He is spotted by this pylon, and Geralt is turning back around. He's racing back home. And it looks like because he's missing his storm timing, he's going to be throwing down a second robo and a bay, working towards Colossus and eventually Disruptors. So far, again, Keen looking for an opening. He's been very active with these drops, but every time Geralt is able to keep up. Able to spot him. There's another pylon is going to go down. Geralt fully aware of the positioning of this drop. They're going to be able to shut it down. We do have a High Templar in that Prism. You have to respect it. Keen is forced back, and yeah, this is pretty back and forth. Other than the fact that, of course, we have Colossus soon to be on the way, we don't really have the best answer for that yet. Yeah, Viking production is commencing. Oh, drop on the left-hand side is being shut down. There we go. Colossi are now on the way. Keen, he still needs a little bit more time to get ready for that. We have +1 ship weapons on the way, second starport for additional Vikings. Oh my god, as we do manage to land a big storm on the army. Servers are being hunted down. Again, Geralt, he's just containing his opponents. I don't think Geralt wants to commit to a big fight until he gets his Colossi. So he's just posturing, just getting whatever damage he can, poking wherever possible. Here we go. We do have a storm jump being set up towards that third. I hope we can keep up with it. Okay, so we have a Dune drop on the right-hand side. We have the main armies clashing towards the left. Big EMPs forcing Gerald back. Oof. 3 workers go down. The drop does dip into the main base. Do we have a recall available? As the drop comes in, here come the storms. Gerald committing to his fight. The Widow Mines, they are on cooldown, and we have plenty of storms available. This army should go down, and we will break this CC. As the storms are thrown down, just covering everything that Keen has. He's just losing his entire army. Across the map, his drop is getting damaged, don't get me wrong, but that pales in comparison to this main army. As Gerald is getting ready for Sky Toss. Oh my god. I think he can keep on pushing, I'm not gonna lie. We can keep pushing, Papi. He still has storms available. As he does deny the 4th, containing Keen to 3 bases as Gerald takes a 5th base. Just in control of this game. I think that Stargate may just be for like a Void Ray or a Phoenix, just to hunt down those drops. Just to hunt down those medevacs. That may be its only purpose. Which is fair. As we can see, Gerald, he rotates around. He's looking for a 4th. He's looking to deny a 4th base, but there is none. Keen just perpetually contained. Again, good reactions here out of Gerald. He is bleeding out some probes. He's down to sub 60 workers, unfortunately. But there's that Phoenix. Oh, let's go. Phoenix does come out. And we should shut down these medevacs. It's going to take a while. The DPS of 1 Phoenix isn't amazing. But here we go. Keen fighting for his 4th base. Oh. Going to be losing a lot of SCVs, and yeah, he isn't quite able to take control of it. A medevac goes down. A full medevac at that. Oh my god. Barely sniping a ghost. Yeah, Gerald, he's just starving Keen out. Godzilla Rumbai is coming in. A Dark Shrine as well. We could even throw down a Fleet Beacon. Oh my god. As the storms are insane. Godzilla Rumbai pulling Keen apart. We get on top of the tanks. We're getting into the Mineral Line. Oh my god, and these Vikings, even against the storms, they just cannot keep up. They cannot engage with the Colossi. And I mentioned before, Gerald, he's been looking damn good here in WTL. He's been fighting back hard. We'll lose 1 Disruptor. And this army is looking a little bit bare bones. I'm a little bit concerned that we've been losing too many Gateway units, but here come the reinforcements. Here come the Stalkers. And we can keep on pushing. We have run out of storms, but where we lack in storms, we have Colossus and Disruptors. As Gerald, he's breaking on through. Breaking through the defensive line. A couple of tanks are still standing strong. But there's barely any bio left. The Planetary does finish. Planetary coming in clutch. The Keen, he cannot stand any longer. Down to 52 workers. Barely an army. And here come those Zealots. And we're warping in 11 Zealots at a time. The 4th base does get up, to be fair. The Widowmine is back. Oh my god. Widowmine is back, but Gerald, he just rotates around towards the 3rd base. Nothing here in position. The tanks were cleaned up earlier. Bio Army sims on forward, but the Nova taking down 1 Marauder, and that's just going to be enough here. There is not enough from Keen. GG gets called, and Gerald takes game number 1. GG, well played. Again, was quite back and forth. It was a good start for Geralt, if you remember. It was a strong opening from him. Keen able to fight back, able to take his 3rd base, able to stabilize somewhat. But Keen was never able. It's going to be on him. It's going to be on his map of choice. For those who maybe aren't familiar with the format, these are best of 2s. The first map is predetermined. The second map is loser's pick instead. And Keen is going to be going for Oceanborn. Okay, we have our map of choice, and yeah, Oceanborn is going to be it. So again, some of the features here of Oceanborn is it does have a relatively shorter rush distance. Not as short as Hardlead, I'm pretty sure. Hardlead is like what, 31, 32 seconds. So a little bit longer than that, but yeah, I do see quite a lot of aggressive plays here on this map, especially really good tank positionings outside both fourth base locations. You can do very well for yourself. So I'm curious what kind of style Keen is going to be going for. In general, it goes both ways though. Like holding onto your fourth base on Oceanborn can be a very difficult thing to do depending on who has map control, depending on who is being aggressive here, whether it's the Protoss or the Terran. So we'll see how Keen switches things up, especially when it comes to those openers as well. Here we go. We're loading on in. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have for PSISTORM Gaming, it is Gerald. And in the bottom right, we have for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Keen. Here we go. Again, to kind of wind it all back here in game number 1, Keen did go for a Rax Expand, did go for a single gas opener. Again, was being very economic. And a map like Oceanborn, I wouldn't be surprised if he does switch things up, but for now, going for his own Rax on the high ground. Likewise, nothing too crazy out of Gerald. No one is sending any workers out of the map. There's no proxies, no proxy pylons, no proxy Raxes. Everything is at home where it should be, depending on your perspective. And Geralt, he only needs one more Uramas, one more to take it all here. And yeah, it has been really cool to see Geralt actually fight back. I don't know if you noticed, but the ELO for Geralt is actually really low. That is because he had a rough season in WTL Summer. In general, PSISTORM had a very rough season, and as a result, that was reflective of their ELOs. But here, in the winter season, Geralt is bringing it all back. As he goes in for a probe scout, once again confirming the Rax Expand, once again confirming the economic opener, and 2 games in a row, Geralt, he is going to be chronoing out that Zealot, sending it across the map. Basically the same kind of game plan here. Oh, but Keen. Look, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, never fool me again. As Keen throws down the CC on the high ground, he will not be delayed, and I believe Geralt did cancel his Zealot. As this time we do have a much safer base location here for Keen. He's learned from the first game. As from here we will be able to get into our openers. And again, Geralt, he won't have as much momentum in the early game as he once did. He did not cancel the Zealot, by the way. He's still moving out across the map. It looks like Geralt actually didn't get to see the location of that command center. So, yeah, there isn't going to be as much value gained here from this first Zealot as it's making its way across the map. Reaper has arrived. Going to be looking to dip in. Once again, Geralt going for another Twilight Council opener. Last game, it was 4-gate Blink. We'll see if he's as committed this time around as well. As the Zealot does arrive, and to the dismay of Geralt, there is nothing for the Zealot to really attack. He can swipe away at the wall, but again, there is no CC on the low ground, and yeah, he's just going to go straight for the depot. He's trying to get some value here with these units. We do have Marines on the way. Depot taking a lot of hits, though, and we are going to have to pull some boys to repair. Uh-oh. SCVs are pulled. They are being focused down, though. Good control out of Keen, pulling back just in time, saving that SCV. Cyclone does arrive, and Keen should be able to hold without too much issue. Oh my god! As he loses 1 Marine, but only 1. Again, acceptable losses here for Keen. Just a little bit of lost mining time. I really, that's all that Geralt wanted. Like, he wanted to get some economic damage in some way for that Zealot, and he got some. Nothing major, but just lost mining time. So Reaper slips into the main base. Once again, only a single gateway for the time being for Geralt. Once the Reaper goes down, we should be throwing down additional gateways as well. Should be working towards our opener. Oh, I'm loving the use of the tall grass. Let's go! as the Cyclone is going to be taking a lot of hits. And the Adepts do escape. And there it is. It's going to be once again 4 Gate Blink Stalker. 3 gateways on the way. 1 gateway already done. 4 in total. And a very aggressive opener here from Gerald. Now, we saw that in the previous game, he was forced to use his army a little bit more defensively because he had to defend against the tank push. And we're going to see a similar situation here as Keen is moving out. And Gerald is going to miss this move out. Uh-oh. He does miss it entirely. The Adepts, they're going for that natural base. And it looks like the army has been spotted. Geralt is aware, and he's committing. Back at home, his gateways, they're still getting up and running. As the Adepts will deny mining here at the natural. But Keen, he doesn't care. He's pushing out across the map. Tank is in position. A shield battery is done, but the Stalker goes down. 2 Stalkers go down. The overcharge was a little bit late. Geralt, he's up against the wall. He's trying to open whatever he can. Down to 3 Stalkers. And we even have a couple of SCVs to repair or to just buffer. The Robo is exposed. 7 SCVs go down. But can Geralt hold us? We even have a Liberator. Behind this, Keen, he's working on Stim. Still halfway done. Pylon's going to be going down. Geralt going to try to go for a bit of a wraparound. He's going for the tank. Oh! And he will get the tank. Big pickup here for Geralt. He's dragging the army away. Takes down the medevac as well. But does he have enough? Because the bunker is about to finish. Liberator denying any kind of mining here at the natural. Gateway gets depowered. But the bunker is still going to finish. Up. It barely will. More tanks are on the way. And Geralt, he's running out of steam. He's running out of units. The overcharge putting in a lot of work. And we do barely get the second tank. Oh my god, Geralt. He's holding. Slowly but surely, Geralt, he's cleaning up the army. He will eventually shut down this bunker as well. And Geralt, he holds on to his third. He only loses a handful of probes. I think it was like 3 probes in total. And that's it. Keen, he has to race back home. He does have Stim, but he lost so much in that assault. He at least killed the Robo. But Geralt, he survives and he gets away with a better economy. He's even going for his own counterattack. Now, because the Robo went down, we don't have any War Prism to reinforce. Or even High Ground Vision. Oof. This Geralt will bleed out a Stalker. But again, he has weathered the storm. Additional gateways on the way. Charge as well. Geralt making 3 probes at a time. And Keen is stuck here on 2 bases. We have High Ground Vision. We don't have a tank covering the main. Uh-oh. But we do have Stim. Thankfully, we do have Stim, so these Marines, they can hold their own. Oh my god, the Blinks, Pappy. As Geralt will not lose a single unit. Taking down a couple of workers and even some Marines. Good trades here from Geralt. Styling a little bit on Keen. As he is snowballing out of control. He's up almost 20 workers. A charge on the way. And Keen has not thrown down a 3rd CC. There's no 3rd behind this. We're going for a 2nd push. This is basically all in. 5 Raxes. Storm is on the way, and Storm will shut this down, but we need time. Geralt, he does need time. So he's just trying to catch any reinforcements he can. Keen scans ahead of time are going to be getting eyes on that 3rd base saturation. The Stalker is caught out. Looks like Charge will finish in time for this. So will Storm. And can Keen break through? We have 4 High Templar in that War Prism. Geralt looking to engage with the army in the center of the map. Here we go. The boys are being pulled. There's no turning back here from Keen. It's all or nothing. And the tanks are being caught on siege. The storms! Oh my god. Massive storms on the army, on the SCVs as well. And Keen is going to lose almost everything. Ay, ay, ay. The worst positioning for Keen as everything just falls to the ground. He's got a couple of Marines left, a couple of Marauders as well. But we have another storm available. And GG gets called. Gerald, he takes the 2-0. And PSISTORM Gaming. Oh, let's go! Vámonos, papi, vámonos. GG, we will take the series 2-0. PSISTORM Gaming will come out on top here against the KWANGDONG Freecs. GG. And of course, we will still play out the last series. We will still play out this PvP between MaxPax and Stats, but PSISTORM, they will come out on top. The KWANGDONG Freecs, they've had a really rough season so far. Again, they've yet to win a match. They've yet to win a best of 7. Time and time again, we have seen these other teams and these other players that have been active this entire time, that have been training and competing and improving, and they've been really being able to flex that. You know, despite the KWANGDONG Freecs being a team full of veterans, alas, in current era, they are still being out. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We apologize for the extended break, the extended delay, but we are here with our final best of 2 of the night. As we mentioned before, Gerald was able to clean it up here against Keen, and PSISTORM, they have taken the series in the end, but we still have a best of 2 remaining between MaxPax and Stats. And again, this series won't be influential to who wins the series overall, but the map score does matter, especially when it comes to tiebreakers, when we head towards the end of the season and when we determine who does and doesn't make it into the playoffs. So there's still weight behind this. On top of that, the ELO rating does matter as well, as MaxPax is going to be rocking up with a hefty 823. Not too bad, not as high as Maru and Cyril, but we're getting there. We're just underneath them in terms of ELO. And MaxPax's PvP is terrifying. I would still favor him coming into this. Map 1 is going to be on Hecate. Again, it is predetermined. And Stats hasn't been looking too bad in PvP, but oh God, like MaxPax, he's just a beast in this matchup. He's an animal. In more ways than one, he is a bit of an animal. And we're going to be able to get into that once we get into game 1. And here we go. We're loading on in and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. For PSISTORM Gaming, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the top right, we have for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Stats. Here we go. And this is very MaxPax. I wonder if Stats is familiar with how he opens up, but essentially the rule of PvP is that you don't go for a gate expand unless there is a ramp at the natural base. With the defender's advantage, with the high ground, you of course are safe to do so, but MaxPax, he does not follow this rule. He's the only player that doesn't. He is so confident in his one base all-in defense that he goes for a low ground expand despite it not being safe to do so, because it is safe for MaxPax. He's just built different. So we have the gateway on the low ground. This is for a faster Nexus expand from MaxPax. Stats is going for a probe scout. He's setting up for a 2-gate opener. And the question becomes, does MaxPax take the challenge? Basically, does Stats take the challenge? MaxPax, he's throwing down a gauntlet saying, hey, what are you going to do about my economic opener? Are you going to one base all in me? Do you dare to? I'm curious. I am curious here, as Stats does have his probe out on the map. Again, did go for that 2-gate opener himself. Oh, let's go! Oh my God, are we going for the gold? The half gold base even? Throwing down a pylon instead, and I'm curious if we're going to be making use of this location. So, fun fact, it was a couple of months ago, but it was on Royal Blood. We casted a PvP between Hero and MaxPax, and Hero's response to the gate expand of MaxPax was to take the gold base on Royal Blood, and he was able to overpower, and overwhelm MaxPax. I'm curious if Stats had a similar idea. He does hide his pylon, so he's making it look like a proxy, but the probe isn't nearby, so it's a fake proxy pylon. It does show us that Stats, he's not going for an all-in, he's not hiding tech, he's playing straight up. As he's trying to bait MaxPax into overreacting, and MaxPax, he does delay his own expansion, he goes for a Stargate first, so MaxPax, he is actually scared. He is actually being baited into, you know, delaying his own Nexus for no reason. He is scouting with his probe, he's looking for the pylon, he's looking for the proxy, as he does throw down his Nexus behind this. Not as early as he would have liked, but a Nexus nonetheless. And looking at the pathing of this probe, he is going to come across the pylon. So he now knows that he's safe. He now knows, oh, okay, it's just you're just faking me out. as Stats is going for his own expansion, and honestly, the base timings aren't too far off from each other. You know, they're pretty similar. The pressure is now on MaxPax to try to get extend his lead and try to get away with it even further here, as he's going for that Oracle first, looking for some economic damage. Meanwhile, back at home, Stats, he does scout the Stargate. He's aware of the Oracle. He has a shield battery in position, and Stats should be fine. Shouldn't really be taking too much damage from this. His Stalkers, they rotate around. They get a shot off as well. A really good movement out of Stats. Behind this, we have a safety Void Ray on the way. Void Rays in PvP, they're typically a defensive unit. Very strong defensively. They don't really have much else going for them, though. Yeah, as the sentries are able to keep up, and the Oracle doesn't get any damage done. Oh my god! Even taking some extra hits, even taking some hull damage. Meanwhile, MaxPax, he doubles down. He has a second Oracle on the way. 2 Oracles do one-shot workers, which means even if you have a shield battery in position, it will not save your workers from 2 Oracles. Behind this, we have our tech of choice. MaxPax going for a Twilight Council, so is Stats. Because Stats didn't invest into a Stargate, his own blink timing is going to be faster than that of MaxPax. And MaxPax is trying to pull apart his opponent, trying to draw away the attention, focusing on the Gateway Army. As the Oracle comes in from behind, gets 1 probe kill, but only 1. It's going to be threatening that main base. Second Oracle going to be meeting up with the first as well. And so far, Stats, he's not looking too bad. He is down in workers, don't get me wrong. He's down 5 or so workers. Oh, as the Oracles, they do dive in. Good target firing out of Stats. He does focus down the weakened Oracle. He doesn't really sustain too many losses, but MaxPax still maintains his worker lead. Still maintains his economic lead as he's going for a Dark Shrine. Oh my, okay. MaxPax, you have my attention. We have a proxy pylon being thrown down to warp in across the map, and Stats does not have detection available. He doesn't have a Robo, doesn't have a Stargate, doesn't have a Forge. If this game goes on any longer, and if Stats doesn't throw down a way to get detection, he may just die. As, oh, he scouts! Did he click on it though? Hallucination comes in. He does spot the Dark Shrine. I don't see a reaction to the Dark Shrine, though. So I'm still a little bit concerned. Stats, he's going for a fast third base. He's being greedy. I hope that MaxPax isn't deterred because he knows he got scouted. As Stats, he's throwing down a Forge, which will help. We do have access to cannons. That is a form of detection. Not a mobile one. Still, no. There we go. Robo now on the way. And it is going to be close. It is going to be very tight whether or not Stats gets his Observer out, because the Robo just started and Dark Templar are being morphed in. I don't think Stats clicked on it. I'll be honest. I don't. Otherwise, we would have seen a much faster Robo, right? Like, this is so close. This is, yeah, no cannons. Yeah, Stats, his hallucination may have seen it, but he himself didn't. We get a stasis trap into the main base. The DTs are waddling on in. Robo is not done. And damage is going to be done. We're depowering the Robo! No! GG gets called. That is game. Stats did not click on the building, and MaxPax will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Oh, that is sometimes how PvPs go, and that is frustrating because, again, the hallucination saw it. The hallucination did see the Dark Shrine, but Stats did not click on it. He wasn't aware of what was seen, and the DTs do end the game. Oh, rough game there, especially because, like, honestly, I was impressed. Like, Stats, he was holding his own. He was, you know, faking out his really go for more economic openers. And we should be seeing that here and now. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Side Delta for PSISTORM Gaming, it is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right, we have his opponent for the KWANGDONG Freecs, Stats. Now, as we were talking about in the beginning of game 1, typically you can't, or it is unsafe to go for a gate expand unless there is a ramp. Because there's a ramp here on Side Delta, I'm pretty sure this is a major role, or is a pivotal feature as to why Stats picked this map. Both players can freely go for mirrored builds. MaxPax, he won't be getting away with any kind of crazy greed because Both players are going for Gate Expands. And the probes are now moving out across the map. Now, we have to bring this into context and to have a bit of a realization here. MaxPax, he is willing to be aggressive. He doesn't have to be overly economic every game. He can turn this on its head, and if MaxPax wanted to, he himself could go for a one-base all-in instead. Oh, that was a bit of a late GLHF, but there it is. Let's go. I don't know why, it just caught me off guard. It also looked like the observer wanted to GLHF as well. I've done that before. When observing and casting games, when you get into it, like by reflex, when you load into a game, you start typing and it's like, oh, I'm not playing. We're good. And yeah, gate expand openers all around. We'll see if we end up delaying said expansion. Both players have the option to go for some pylon blocks, and there it is. Stats does throw it down just in time without any delay. The gates hybrid into that Nexus. Meanwhile, MaxPax still going to be looking to take his own, as MaxPax does take a second gas geyser first. Takes the second gas geyser, throws down another pylon. And it is going to be for a Stargate opener. Okay, interesting choice here from MaxPax. So Stats will have the better economy. MaxPax will have the ability to punish that, though, with these eventual oracles. This isn't a one-base all-in. MaxPax should be expanding behind this. It's just a way to deal economic damage and to recover from an otherwise deficit you would have. As noted, the Nexus is thrown down. Now, Stats, he does confirm that the Nexus is on the way. He also saw the Stargate opener as well with that probe, so he's fully aware that he has to be ready for it, and as a result, that's why Stats has a shield battery on the way in the main and in the natural. So very safe play here from Stats. So we do have that Oracle in production. From here, things will settle down. It's going to be on Stats to be able to keep up with the movements of this Oracle. It's also going to be on MaxPax to make sure he doesn't throw that Oracle away as well. Does want to ideally have it survive long enough to meet up with the second Oracle, and then we can start one-shotting workers as he is moving out across the map. Behind this, Stats playing very safe. He's warping in a couple of sentries. Sentries will allow him to hallucinate the scout to confirm what's happening across the map, and hopefully this time the hallucination also lets Stats know exactly what's happening, and he's able to click on whatever tech he needs to, and we don't get a repeat of game one, and I'm sure we won't. I'm sure Stats will keep up. So far, the Oracle's not finding any damage, but the first does join forces with the second. Now we can look to dive into the main base. Again, even with a shield battery, it's not going to be enough. But we do have 3 Stalkers in position. Yeah, we go straight for the natural instead. 3 workers go down, and we go for the sentry. Oh, don't quite get it, though. Sentry does survive. Shield battery keeps alive, and we go back in. Oh, a bold move here from MaxPax. He will trade 6 probes for 1 Oracle. Not too bad from Stats, but this is going to be enough to even things up. That is really what MaxPax was looking for, as he's now ahead by 1. Slightly. Again, there was a lot of pressure on MaxPax to kill workers, and he's been able to even up the economy, even up the worker count, and behind this, MaxPax going straight for a 3rd base. Bit of a greedy maneuver, but Stats doesn't really have the best way to punish it at the moment. He's working on his own tech. We have a Forge on the way, a Robo, no additional gateways. Blink in production for both players as we ease in towards the mid game. This time, no DTs, thankfully. No Dark Templar. As instead of throwing down a 3rd base, Stats did prioritize his tech and his production, so even though MaxPax will have a better economy, Stats will have a timing with +1. +1 is on the way. He has that gateway explosion kicking in. He's going for a later 3rd instead. And there is going to be a window available where Stats, his gateway army, is going to be stronger than that of his opponent, as MaxPax is pushing out. Again, +1 is still on the horizon, and MaxPax does have Blink. He gets eyes on the third, he gets eyes on the positioning of the army of Stats. As he moves out, Stats also has eyes on the main army of MaxPax. MaxPax is going to be forced back. Blink just now will finish in time here for Stats as well. And both players will bounce off each other. And Stats going to be enjoying his tech here. Doesn't just have Blink on the way, he's got Immortal production underway. Charge as well. The quality of Stats' army is getting quite good here. Quite good for himself, especially compared to what MaxPax has. Instead, MaxPax relying on a pure Stalker army instead. For now. And not just that, but MaxPax is also up 10 workers. Again, because of the faster third base, he's able to enjoy that. Up 10 workers, full saturation at the third. He can go for a faster fourth if he wanted to. He's slowly catching up with his own charge, with his own +1. It's going to be on Stats to make use of these timings. As immediately he starts up +2. Oh, did you get a Stasis Trap into the main? Oh, we do catch a decent chunk of probes. At the same time, two adepts make it into the natural as well. MaxPax pulling Stats apart. Getting 3 worker kills and the Stasis Trap as well. Stats, he was already behind economically, and now he's falling further behind. As MaxPax throws down the fourth and a Dark Shrine. Now, this time we have observers, so the DTs aren't going to end the game, not like previously. Despite that, there is potential for some counter damage. They may not end the game, but they can get worker kills. So here we go. MaxPax is in position, he denies the fourth. At the same time, Adept's going to be threatening a shade into the natural. Nothing quite in position. And MaxPax just flexing his multitasking. As he is not able to make his way through. Only gets 1 probe kill before being cleaned up. Yeah, this time Stats does leave units in position. +2 on the horizon. Likewise, he's ready in the main as well. Let's go. Fool me once, Bappy. That's all you get. Stats is going to be backing off, consolidating his forces. His army is revealed here to this observer. I believe he should be able to snipe the observer of Stats as well. Yes, it has been spotted and does go down. Now, due to all these chargelets, though, Max actually does have to be careful, does have to be wary. Pulling back from the army. He can't quite commit. He has to respect this. +2 about to kick in 10 seconds. As he just... that's just a distraction. We have a Zealot run back here towards the south. But the Immortal is being focused down. And it will fall for MaxPax. Stats now has momentum. Again, he does have +2 and he can keep on pushing. Yes, Stats, he will win out the trade here towards the south. And he forces MaxPax all the way back home. But as he moves out, here come the Dark Templar. Oh, God. Not again. This shouldn't be enough to end the game, but it is crippling the economy. 6 workers go down. We recall everything back home. The Observer as well. And this will give MaxPax the time he needs to catch up in upgrades, to get breathing room. No mining whatsoever at the third. And he does clean up all these Zealots. MaxPax, he was on the back foot, but these DTs are doing so much for him. Stats just stuck at home, just bouncing between his bases, cleaning up all these Dark Templar. And here we go, MaxPax coming in for another push. The DT's waddling in again. Trying to catch Stats off guard. And they are. Oh, we do have cannons on the way. We have cannons in production. And again, the quality of Stats' army is still insane. He's got Immortals. He's got Archons. The DTs are cleaned up. Where are the shield batteries? They just now finish up and they will be focused down. And Stats, he's up. Sorry, MaxPax, he's up against the wall. This entire time, Stats has just been building up this army with these upgrades, with +3 now on the way, and MaxPax cannot keep up. Forced to pull the boys into Archons. The workers are going to go down. And MaxPax, he will lose control of this 4th base. And there's nothing he can do about it. Again, he has to respect it. And honestly, Stats, he can keep on pushing. Oh, big stasis trap, though. Massive stasis trap is going to force Stats back. MaxPax, he is down 30 supply. He has evened up the upgrades. He now has +2 with his opponent. But again, he doesn't have Archons. The DTs, they're going ham. Getting more worker kills. But I don't think Stats cares too much. He's focusing on his main push. He is breaking through. Waiting for more reinforcements. Waiting for more zealots. As they will arrive. There is another stasis trap. Can MaxPax pull this off? And one juicy stasis trap can win him a fight, but it will only connect with 3 zealots. Shield battery gets popped, but overcharge is going to run out. And Stats, he's trying to break through. Stasis trap will not go off, and the Stalkers, they're running out of room. They have to give up on this base once again. The zealots are getting into mineral lines. There are a lot of DTs across the map. The boys are being pulled, and things are getting chaotic. Stats going to be losing a lot of his economy back at home, but his main army is still standing strong, and he should still take this. He is losing a lot of workers. Don't get me wrong, a lot of workers are going down, but this main army, this death ball of a Protoss army, is not being stopped, cannot be stopped, as he hunts down another base. This entire time, MaxPax, he just has to avoid the main fight. He's going for a big counterattack. He may even commit to a base trade. Oh, actually setting up a surround. He's coming back here with his Stalkers. He could try to take a fight. Reinforcements are still back home. And Stats, he's just forcing his way into the natural as well. The Immortals are looking a little bit exposed. Stats, he does have to be careful with his control. Oh my god, the Immortals go down! The Prism as well. Good target firing out of MaxPax. As he's trying to fight back up into his own natural base. But the Artosis pylon goes down. Shield battery not coming into play at all. And Stats, he will take a better fight. He will hold. And Stats, he's going to be the one to fight back for his team. He's going to be the one to put a point on the board. It's not going to be a 6-0. It's not going to be completely one-sided. As MaxPax will lose his natural. And he gets knocked down to 1 remaining base. It was a little bit stressful. Again, the DTs were doing a lot of damage, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the armies and the Stats. He's reinforcing across the map. He can force his way into the main as well. There's nothing to stop him. GG gets called, and Stats will fight back. He will take a game. GG, well played. I'm sure he's still a little bit frustrated about game 1. You know, game 1 could have been a very different game if it wasn't for the Dark Templar, but GG, well done. Well done to Stats. It isn't easy to take a game off of a player like MaxPax. MaxPax is literally one of the best players in the world. Top 2 Protoss in the world alongside Hero. And yeah, Stats able to take a game. Maybe even 2 in another world. Maybe even 2. Alas, so congratulations to PSISTORM Gaming as they do take the series 5-1. Shout out to Spirit, Gerald, and MaxPax for bringing it all back together, fighting back as a team, and getting another win on the board. Meanwhile, the KWANGDONG Freecs, they have still been struggling quite a bit. I do hope that they can find their footing. We are soon about to see the standings here for all of our players and all of our teams, and yeah, I wish the best of luck to the KWANGDONG Freecs. Like, I'm a big fan. Like, I love Sue, I love Keen, I love Stats as well, and you can see here that they just had a really rough time. They haven't won a single series yet. They have taken a game by Stats. He has been able to take a game, but that is it so far, as they are at the bottom of the standings alongside the Starving Camels as well. Has been brutal. Wait, have they won a series? They have a point. Hold on. do you have a point? Meanwhile, at the top of the rankings, we have on-site Shopify, Basilisk. It's great to see Shopify doing well. If you were here for WTL Summer, Shopify, they were struggling quite hard in World Team League Summer. But here in Winter, they're popping off, and they're looking damn strong. Looking even to be contenders to make it into the playoffs and have a deeper run there as well. So I look forward to them. With that, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thanks so much for your support. We are going to be wrapping up our WTL cast for the week, and we're going to be coming back soon. I don't think if WTL is this weekend, we won't be able to cast it because ESL Masters Winter. It is also upon us as well. The ESL Masters Regionals are starting next week. We were lucky enough to actually cover all the qualifiers. We casted all the open and closed qualifiers for every single region, so the VODs are available on our channel, and we will also be a part of the main event as well over in the weekend. I say the main events, the regionals, essentially. We're going to be doing our best to provide coverage, and yeah, we'll see you guys there. We'll see you guys there for ESL Masters Winter. We may try to cover some WTL if the scheduling allows for it, but it's not looking good. It's not looking ideal. Also, a big shout out to Asher. Big shout out to Asher. He was able to cast with me for our first series. It's always great having a co-caster, whether it's Asher or Chase or Yaku. Always do appreciate it. Unfortunately, wasn't able to stick around for the entire event, but for the first series, always good fun. Always good fun casting with Asher. And yeah, hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I know the events. I know that typically we have like other English casters like Wardy and Steadfast and Rotterdam, but I know a lot of them are unavailable, and Wardy's covering his own event. So yeah, thanks for dropping by, and I'm sure the other community casters will be covering this event in the coming weeks as well. Once they are back from either TwitchCon or covering their own events. So look forward to it. Do look forward to it. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Shout out to Kuro handling the production as well. The unsung hero of the CranKy Ducklings. Kuro always behind the scenes, putting in a lot of work in the social media, with predictions, with the stream setup as well. Thank you so much. And yeah, ! socials in the chat if you want to see more of the CranKy Ducklings. We're going to be live tomorrow. We're going to be live tomorrow with ESL Open Cup Asia in less than 24 hours. We'll see you then. Until then, thanks for watching, everyone. Hasta luego. Bye.